Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Live, sponsored by CG Professional. Now, today we are speaking about communicating with customers in a digital age and why having the right tools to effectively create and harness those conversations is critical for dealers. Now, joining me to speak more about this is Andrew Fulton from Ripley Chat. Hello, Andrew.
How you doing, James? You well?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Fascinating topic, all of this. Lovely to have you on. Now, before we get into the current landscape of dealers at the moment, could you just explain what Ripley Chat is and its history?
Sure, no problem, James. Yes, thanks for having me. Sure. So Ripley Chat is a lead generation chatbot that would appear on car marketplaces or dealer websites. And everyone's familiar with live chat. It's become very popular over the last 10 years in all industries, but in particular in kind of car classifieds, car marketplaces and dealer websites, in the sense that it produces high quality leads that are really rich and contextual back to salespeople. So we saw an opportunity in the market about 4 years ago in 2017 that whilst live chat was very, very effective in terms of lead conversion and so on versus phone calls or email inquiries, but it's expensive on a cost per lead basis because you require a contact center or you have to staff it 24/7 and so on. And so really all we have done is produce that in a chatbot format, which is all the tech buzzwords of the day behind it: artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc., that can learn as it goes, as it answers more and more conversations. It's learning more and more about the car industry, and so that's what Ripley Chat is.
Brilliant. Well, so what would you say the benefits of it are, and what does it do differently to other service providers out there?
Sure. So I think two-part question, I suppose, James, that in terms of what does it do better, I suppose if you take live chat in a sense whereby you have maybe a business contact center with lots and lots of people having to answer queries 24/7, they can typically only answer 6 concurrent conversations at any one time. And so there's an availability issue unless you have an excess of staff there available. And then 2, there's a speed of response issue. And then finally, it's quite a high churning role. So you tend to lose knowledge about car finance or car insurance or whatever the types of questions might be from visitors on websites. And so the advantages of a chatbot in general, not just ours, is that you mitigate all those risks in terms of the chatbot. It doesn't get sick. It can answer as many conversations as you want at any one time. And more importantly, there's really no cost of scale. So if you to answer one question or to answer 100 million questions, you don't have to have any extra people. So those are the main benefits for chat. With regards to Ripley, in terms of other providers, we tend to compete mainly with live chat service providers who are providing live chat as a service or an outsourced model. But there's also some fantastic other kind of chatbot providers in the space, probably LivePerson being the most well-known and most dominant globally. But they're not just in automotive, they're in a number of other industries. And so we feel our advantage is twofold. One, it's because we are highly focused on automotive. So we've really focused in on building the best chatbot. The problem with chatbots is that people tend to mistrust them a little bit because they sometimes make mistakes and get answers wrong. And so we really focused on not making a broad chatbot, but one that's just focused on the car industry. And then I suppose the second benefit or way that we try and compete is on cost. By focusing purely on this sector, we have very low cost of service, and therefore where cost per lead is becoming a bigger and bigger issue for car dealers and customer acquisition costs are skyrocketing, this is a way of keeping those acquisition costs really low.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that leads me on to my next question, really, which is the word bot. Now, I'm sure there are a few dealers out there who are thinking, oh gosh, I don't want to have some kind of robot replying to my customers. But the important thing we've got to stress here is that despite the negative publicity of bots in the past, this is a highly sophisticated system, isn't it? And for the customer, they're probably none the wiser that they're not talking to a human being.
Yeah, it's a hugely contentious subject, or certainly was in years past. When we first started in 2017, you could see that the car industry, which is I don't think anyone will be offended by me saying that sometimes a little bit behind on some of the technology trends. They were a little bit skeptical of the word bot. And at the time we had a white label version. So we said, listen, if you want to personify this and not call it a bot, give it a name, you can do that. But we highly recommend that you just be upfront and honest with your visitors to your website and say that this is a chatbot you're dealing with. What you find is most visitors are, first of all, the millennial generation, which are the primary target customer for this, they're used to using chatbot services across anything that they use on the web. So it's becoming more and more widespread use, and therefore when they see it on a car dealer website or a car marketplace, it's just second nature at this point. But also the chatbot functionality is becoming better and better thanks to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so now it's very difficult to differentiate in 2021 between a chatbot and a human chat representative.
Yeah. And I think you make a good point there about millennials and the younger generation. For many young people who are thinking about buying a car or some kind of service from a car dealer, they probably won't buy a car if there isn't an opportunity for them to actually talk, on live chat before walking into the showroom. So really, I suppose the message is if dealers haven't embraced this kind of technology now, they really need to start thinking about that now, don't they?
Absolutely. The world has gone to messaging, or conversational commerce is some of the buzzwords that are being used out there. And I think that nowadays people don't want to lift up the phone. They don't want to call back. We're very used to WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, these kind of mediums in which we converse with both friends, businesses, etc. alike. And so it's very natural progression for the car industry to pick it up. And it has picked it up. We started in 2017 where we had maybe 300 dealers using the platform, and we were met with the skepticism of this is never going to catch on. And I think now we're a very small percentage of the market, but I think we've over 3,000 dealers using the chatbot today. So it's definitely, the industry is progressing and catching on the fact that they do need to use, whether it's Ripley or another service, that chat is the future.
Yeah. And not only does this help the large scale dealers who might traditionally have a team dedicated to following up leads and following up inquiries from customers, but I'm sure it must help dealers who are much smaller, and they don't have to spend so much time, slaving away at the computer or the iPad. They can get out the office a bit more and focus on physical customers and customer service. So it must help dealers of all shapes and sizes.
Absolutely. There's a lot of small dealers using the platform, and as you say, they need to be doing test drives, showing customers around the showroom, whatever else it might be. They're going to struggle to be answering the phone when it rings or responding to a live chat message on any form of platform, whether it's their Facebook business page or their live chat on their website. They don't have time to be instantly responsive, particularly if they're a smaller dealer. And so the chatbot, very much collects that lead. If it does require a follow-up, it will ask that customer for what time suits for the next conversation or the test drive or whatever that might be in terms of the follow-up action. And then, tidies that lead away into either the inbox or into the dealer management system that particular small dealer might be using.
Yeah. Let's face it, what with the events of the past 12 months, this move to online and, the growth in online services and online communication tools, it's just going to grow and grow and grow from here onwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems that way. Even through the last 12 months that you just mentioned, we've seen our chat count and also leads generated grow by 5, 6, 7, 8% month on month. And there's going to be two reasons for that. One is perhaps dealers are trying to continue on and do business by either skirting the rules or trying to do business within the rules. And then two, it's just the general growth of online marketing. People can't come into showrooms, but people can sit on their phones in the evening and they don't want to pick up the phone, but they will send a message.
Yeah. Did you see a notable uplift in the past 12 months? If you look back over the company history over the past few years, you can clearly see, right, that is 2020 right there in front of us.
I don't think that we've seen an uplift in, like, our growth has slowed because of dealers shutting down, maybe people being on furlough, etc. But in terms of chat volume amongst our current dealers, yes, we've seen an uplift. And I suppose as a business we have grown. You know, we passed the 3,000 dealer mark just a number of weeks ago. It's hard to know whether that is, you know, contributable to COVID, or if that's just generally the fact that chatbots are becoming more widespread and the dealer industry over the last 2 or 3 years has caught on to it. So I don't know whether to, you know, blame or attribute that to COVID or not.
Yeah. And finally, Andrew, I mean, you know, if people want to find out a little bit more about Ripley Chat, what's the best way that they can do it? Do they have to go through a chat bot to find more out, or can they pick up the phone and talk to someone?
No, we'll absolutely talk to them. We are humans at the end of the phone in that instance. So yeah, just, you know, ripleychat.com and speak to one of our sales representatives. You know, we have a number of partnerships throughout the industry with dealer website providers or marketplaces. So a lot of dealers find out that they're probably using Ripley somewhere else if they're advertising on a different platform. And so there's a little bit of familiarity there. So no, absolutely, we're happy to talk to dealers and just generally talk to them through live chat and chatbots, etc., particularly if there is a lot of fear and skepticism of their value.
Yeah. And finally, and this is the final question, I promise you, any dealers who are watching this and they're thinking, yeah, I've been slow to adapt to this kind of operating, what would you say to them to actually get them to pick up the phone?
Well, I guess the first thing is chatbots in terms of cost per lead are just a fraction of every other medium that you have in terms of lead generating. And the second thing is that they're very easy to implement. You know, it's a 5, 10, 15-minute process. And typically we'll do that implementation for you, or we'll just work with your dealer website provider to do so. So it's rather painless. And we don't tie anybody into contracts. We very much believe that, you know, if you're getting value from the product, which most are, you'll keep working with us. So we very much are flexible to work with small dealers who perhaps are going outside their comfort zone to explore new technology.
Fantastic. So we're going to have to leave it there today, I'm afraid, Andrew. But thanks so much for coming on. It's fascinating learning a little bit more about the company. So thank you.
Thanks, James. All the best.
Now, it just leaves me to say thank you for watching and join us again soon. Bye-bye.